With all this digital transformation that is happening in the world, I want to know how do you see the world in a couple of years. But first, regarding Egypt and your experience in Egypt now for the past 4 or 5 years, with all the things happening in the electricity field and other sectors as well, how do you see Egypt in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, see, when I come to Egypt today, it's like coming and meeting friends. It's different in the meantime because we've achieved so much together.
Yeah.
And you know, if you see friends, you want them to be successful, and you want them to develop, and you know, have children, next generation doing well in the next generation. So it's a very almost an emotional relationship in the meantime because it's been a very well developing partnership. So I do believe that if the leadership continues, Egypt should actually be the leader of the African world. Maybe with a handful more, they need to take on the leadership in the African world. Maybe Nigeria, maybe smaller, but in terms of leadership, Rwanda and others to bring the African continent forward. Not by all 55 all together, it's not going to work. But by setting the right priority, by coming together and form an African compact and say, look, we are Africa, these are the priorities which we have. And then we are leading Africa towards China, towards Europe, and set the priorities right. As you said earlier, everybody looks at Africa because the potential is so huge. But Africa shouldn't just sit there and wait till they all come over and try to take away their natural resources, because that will never develop into meaningful value-add development. So Africa needs to form a leadership together, say these are the priorities. So if you come to our country, you know, take our money for infrastructure and energy, that's the set of requirements you better bring with you.
Yeah.
And then I think people will come and there will be a meaningful dialogue about it. So I have a very high wish and hope that the leadership in Egypt continues, that Al-Sisi takes over even more responsibility with African country and develops one after another. Of course, I'm aware of geopolitics, which is always in the way of a economic development. It's just the way the world happens. But as I say, they don't need to be 55 marching at the same speed. They don't need to be 55 marching into the same direction. Some have their priorities here, others have the priorities there. But you know, we just need to take the big ones first, and then the others will follow.